Morning, folks. Welcome to week 8 preview of college football time with Avry and Miguel. I'm Miguel Medina. This is Avery. Avery, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great today. Down here in Florida, it has become sweater weather. So I shall open up this wonderful weather down in Florida by grabbing one of my favorite sweaters with this week's football time with you, my dear friend Miguel, and myself.
Hmm. Well, I hope you and everyone else down there stays warm. First things first, I gotta talk about this one, Avery. Utah versus BYU. This is one heck of a one. This is the first time that both teams are ranked since 2009. Utah, we saw what they did to Arizona State. I feel that this is going to be a physical game. I can feel it. I have Utah winning this one 26-17.
That's a good reasonable score. Both teams are coming in to this game full force. You know, being ranked, it's working for both teams in their favor. I think BYU has a slight edge over Utah. Utah has had some difficult losses this season, and a win for Utah could go ahead and catapult them again to where they want to be. But this is an interesting interstate rivalry with BYU and Utah. I'm going to go with BYU on this one. I think they have the slight edge. I think they are going to give Utah a run for their money, and Utah, at the same respect, is going to give BYU a very difficult challenge. So for this one, I'm gonna go with BYU. I'm also gonna say this is gonna be a bit of a high scoring game too. I'm gonna go BYU 30 and Utah 25.
Another big one, Texas Tech versus Arizona State. Arizona State is coming into this game with a lot of injuries. They have 13 players who are ruled out, and then you have some that are doubtful. Sam Levitt, he's going to play, but he's making some progress, but he's doubtful, but he's going to play. But I just think he's not going to be 100%. And Baron Morton is currently being questionable. So Will Hammond will most likely start in this game for Texas Tech. I just think that the Red Raiders, as much as I want Arizona to pick up their fifth win, and I do think this is a must-win game for them, I just think that the Red Raiders are hot right now, super red hot. So I'm gonna go with Texas Tech 28-20.
Yeah, that could be a decent score. When you have a football team that's banged up, you hope that anyone coming off the bench could give that spark. Also, your injured players are also trying to rally around those bench players that are now getting their start. I agree with you. I was hoping the Sun Devils coming off that loss last week, this would be a great opportunity for them to get back in the groove. Um, but I agree with you. Texas Tech is red hot right now. The Red Raiders are just red hot right now. And where they are, especially there, I'm like they're top 10. I'm like, this is like a dream come true for this football program right now. Usually, like I said, you see this from their basketball program. Um, I hope Arizona State gives them a fight, knowing that they're a bit banged up. Texas Tech, little banged up too, but I agree with you. I think Texas Tech is going to take this. If Arizona keeps it close, I think that'd be great, even with the injuries that are going on in the Sun Devils camp. So I'm going to go a bit more of a smaller margin for this game. I'm going to go with Texas Tech 27, Arizona State 25. I want to see Arizona State keep it close to kind of give that team the spark they need, but if it's just too little too late, I would hope for that than a blowout when you have an injury when you're playing an injury riddled team.
I'm really hoping the Sun Devils can shut up a lot of people and get a victory over Texas Tech. Next up, and this is one of my favorite, number 5 Ole Miss versus number 9 Georgia. Lane Kiffin, he's not gonna play around. He has these guys ready for this particular matchup. I feel like there's gonna be a heavyweight fight between two good head coaches. This game will be at 3:30. In my opinion, I'm expecting. I feel like both teams, their defense, they're not that impressive in my opinion the way they've been playing this season. Georgia, they lost to the Rebels last year, 28-10, but they have won 8 of the last 10 meetings. However, when it's Kane Liffin versus Kirby Smart, they're equal. So I like what the Rebels quarterback and running back are doing, Trinidad and Hugh Lacey. Both of them are having outstanding seasons. I have Ole Miss winning this game 33-29.
That's a high scoring game. And do not let the background fool you, knowing that Alabama has already defeated Georgia. But I want this game to have a playoff feel aspect to it. Georgia had a bit of an issue with Auburn last week. Granted, they pulled out the win, but Auburn was giving them some trouble. Ole Miss this year, they're not surprising. We've kind of seen this from the school. They've just certain schools kind of get the best of them over the years. We saw that last year with Kentucky. They got their revenge this year, and they've after that game, they've just been on a roll. Both teams are ranked in the top 10, which I think is fantastic. This is, I think, SEC at its finest. You have Lane Kiffin, who has been working with this team for a good number of years now, and it's always where's the hump? They've always had really good players to come out of this program. They've had some ups and downs when it comes to certain games, but Lane Kiffin, who I feel is a bit an unapologetic head coach, but he loves his players. He loves his team. He loves that he can bring out the best in players, and the players are going to give that back to them. Kirby Smart at this point is a legend in Georgia. So, and I agree with you. This is either going to be a shootout of college football offenses, or one team's defense is going to work in their favor and they're going to shut them down. I'm going to go with the defensive part. I think Ole Miss's defense is a bit better, not the best, but a bit better. And I think because of the issues Georgia had last week with Auburn, I think Ole Miss is going to take advantage of that and see what can work in their favor. So I'm going to do that throwback to when Ole Miss beat Georgia, but I'm going to give them a little bit higher score. I'm going to go Ole Miss 30, Georgia 17.
Marvelous. Next up, oof, and this one is a classic rivalry. Number 20 USC versus number 13 Notre Dame. It's their 96th meeting. The game starts at 7:30 on NBC. Both schools combined for 11 national titles. Avery. USC, in the last 6 trips in South Bend, have been down However, USC bullied Michigan last week. They bullied them. Jeremiah Love, he has scored at least one touchdown in each game this season. He's gonna have to be very instrumental in this game. Notre Dame's defense, they're legit, they're elite, and they had to neutralize that hot quarterback that they have right now in USC because he's playing lights out. Given all of that, I can go against Fighting Irish on this one. I'm gonna say Fighting Irish to win this game 31-26.
I agree with you. I think it could be a close game. I think these are going to be high offense that we're going to see on Saturday. And there are some games on the schedule when you see teams play, you think of the history. So, of course, Trojans fighting Irish, there's a lot of history there in college football. And I think both coaches might tap into that for their players, but they'll also bring them to the present to let them know that this is their chance to make their name at this particular time. USC took Michigan's lunch money. That was a bit of a shock, but knowing that USC is trying to get back into their historic form, it just worked in their favor. They're gonna go to South Bend and they're going to try and remind these very storied schools that we come to play, we're going to be serious about it, and you are going to respect us. But Notre Dame also knows for the issues they've already had this season, this is a game that they cannot just sit on their heels. They can't just sit back. They can't just, oh, we have this, we have that. They have to attack. They have to attack the football. Their defense definitely has to step up because if not, that high-powered Trojan offense is going to run ragged. Notre Dame definitely needs to not make mistakes as far as interceptions. That could be, I think, a telling sign for the Fighting Irish. Like you, I'm going to go with Notre Dame on this one, but I'm going to go Notre Dame close. I'm going to go Notre Dame 35, USC 33.
Last but not least, and then we'll throw some honorable mentions. And this one, it excites me. It's a noon game, ACC matchup, Georgia Tech versus Duke. Georgia Tech, they're one of the few teams remaining undefeated. This can also be a dangerous game for them. We're talking about a Blue Devils team that's 4-2. They have won three in a row. After they lost to Tulane, they've been playing on fire. So Georgia Tech, this is a Duke team that you don't want to take lightly. And you're going to be on the road on top of that. I see this as a close game. This week is interesting because I see a lot of games that have the potential to be close. So I feel that we are due for like an amazing Saturday, hopefully. I'm gonna go with Georgia. Game-winning field goal, 28-27.
Oh, I'm with you right there. I'm with you right there. I think this game is going to come down to the wire. Like I've said for the past couple weeks when it comes to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, like South Florida, is kind of under the radar right now. Not a lot of people are talking about them, but here they are, just squeaking by, working their way up the AP poll, and you are absolutely right. They can be a dangerous team. If Duke is not prepared for the Yellow Jackets, Georgia Tech is just going to run all over them. And Duke has been very well. I think two games are turning points for Duke. I think their game against California a couple weeks ago, and of course their game against North Carolina. So I see I see Duke giving Georgia Tech some trouble, but also Georgia Tech wants to let everybody know, hey, we're sitting in our prime spot of number 12. You know, we're leading the ACC right now. So don't overlook us. Don't overlook us. And yeah, I agree with you. I think this is going to go down to the wire. I'm actually not only down to the wire, I'm going overtime. This is kind of a thing that college football wants to do. Now I'm gonna make it a thing. This is my overtime game for Saturday. I'm gonna go Georgia Tech overtime, but they're just gonna squeak by. They're gonna squeak by. I'm going Georgia Tech 30, Duke 27.
All right, so there's other honorable mention. We have LSU versus Vanderbilt at noon. We have Texas A&M versus Arkansas.
Oh, I think that's gonna be a great game considering Arkansas gave Tennessee a fight last
Yep,
week.
yep, and that game is at 3:30. Speaking of Tennessee, they're gonna be heading to Alabama, 7:30
Yes.
game. That one intrigues me. They're both ranked. Uh,
Oklahoma, South Carolina could be a
yes.
sleeper. Oklahoma coming off Texas winning. South Carolina has a chance, for upset, but I think Oklahoma might they're still kind of banged up a bit, but I think Oklahoma might take that one. Same thing with Texas. Texas winning the Red River rivalry. They're playing
Kentucky.
Kentucky. They're playing Kentucky, and Kentucky could probably be, hey, just because you won last week doesn't mean you're going to come to our house and win. So that could also be a good catapult for Texas as well. And, another one sneaking under the mid-afternoon radar, SMU Clemson. I think that one might be another, let's squeak this in and see how it works to the benefit. But yeah, this is, week 8, we're now coming down to the wire where teams need to position themselves. I was talking with a friend on this last week. Any team who's kind of in that 12 to 15 range, they need help from up top. For
Yep.
example, Indiana helped themselves by beating Oregon. They also helped Miami, who was on a bye. And of course, Miami is playing Friday at home. They're playing Louisville Friday night, 7. We should definitely mention that one. So even Oregon, they still have a shot because they're in the top 10, but other teams below them are like, okay, we need to hope that some of these top teams either beat themselves up or get upset. So for the next couple of weeks, we're going to see that while teams get the opportunity to knock off a top 10 team to help themselves, you also have teams down below that are like, okay, if these top 10 teams get knocked off, then we have a shot. But like anything, it's all about conference play. It's all about conference play. And I said it when we mentioned Georgia Tech um and Duke. I think aside from Miami, Georgia Tech is also in prime position right now for for a playoff berth. So the next couple of weeks are definitely going to be interesting. Definitely going to be interesting.
And the very last one, Avery, and this is a Saturday night game, Missouri versus Auburn. That one, um, that one is gonna be another heavyweight fight. Right now, like people are going like this because they don't know who to root
Yeah.
for. Um, the last time these two teams faced was last October, October 19th, in which Missouri won 21-17. However, there are some again injuries. Injuries get in the way, especially on Missouri's defense. Um, but oof. But I'm gonna go with Missouri on that one.
Yeah,
I'm going with Missouri that one. 24-17.
Missouri gave Alabama a fight last week. They only lost by three. They only lost by three. And like like before, when you have teams, like I said, when you have teams that are playing under the radar, when you have people that are not paying attention to schools that are playing really good football, it may not be the best football to other team standards. If you're talking about the standard being Ohio State, who's number one, you have to be careful when you are preparing for other teams. So Auburn keeping in the game with Georgia, and they just kind of ran out of gas, knowing that they have Missouri coming to visit them, and Missouri still ranked, giving those other SEC schools a fight. Auburn needs to be careful because they could just be run over. They could just be run over. Um, I'm gonna go with Missouri on this one too, but I'm gonna go close. I think both teams are gonna play a bit conservative, so I think the score isn't gonna be that high. But I'm gonna go Missouri 25, Auburn 20.
That's a fair score. Well, guys, that does it for week 8 preview. Avery, thank you once again. Hopefully, week 8 takes it to a whole different stratosphere because there's so many intriguing matchups. So, guys, if you guys enjoy this content, if you want, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Enjoy week 8. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you guys on Monday as me and Avery, we give you guys our recap and our reaction of this weekend's college football. God bless all of you.
Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Take care. Be safe.